Alright folks, welcome to video 4 of the Raspberry Pi Rack series. So, I'm going to do things a little bit differently today. I got the new PC in, but my office isn't completely put back together. That said, I wanted to get something out for you so you could get some printing done this weekend, and so I'm going to release another series of parts. Those parts are going to be these 3U sections here, so we're going to walk through that. I'll show you how to print them, and I'll show you the completed product on my rack, and then, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully this weekend I'll drop another video, but I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm still trying to get everything set up on the machine, so as you can tell, it's quite a bit smoother though, so I'm pretty happy about that. So let's start with the left panel. So the left panel looks very much like the 2U panel. In fact, they're basically identical. You just have another 40 millimeter section right here to deal with, so that, adds a little bit of height to your rack. Now, I use this section, the 3U section, for a rancher management cluster, and that's what I use to control my K3's cluster. Now, obviously you use it for your own uses, but it is a 120 millimeter tall section, so you can fit 3 blades in here. Like I said, it's pretty much identical to the 2U section. Now, for the right panel, pretty much identical. You've got your magnets in the front, magnets in the back, all the things that you need. Literally, it's identical again. The back panel, same as the 2U, or same as the back 2U section. Excuse me. Anyway, yeah, so really the parts are not at all different than the 2U section. They're just 40 millimeters taller. The only reason I didn't release them before is I wanted to make sure that they all fit properly. Sometimes you just never know what you're going to get. So everything looks good here. I'll show you what it looks like in the assembly as far as where you should be in your rack if you're building along with me. So you have a 2U section here and a 3U section here. Magnets are all installed through here as well as in the front. So that should all look good. And then of course we can turn on some, let's turn on some joints and I can show you what those look like. Of course they work a lot better now. So should be able to open and close those. Well, maybe they work better. I don't know. Anyway, there we go. Better. Okay, cool. Maybe it's just I don't know how to use Fusion. Yeah, oh well. Anyway, so yeah, let's go ahead and get some parts kicked over to the printer, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. Alright, so over in PrusaSlicer, we're going to go ahead and start with the back panel. That's probably the easiest one to go with. So, as with the 2U panel, just lay it on its back like that. That's really all it needs. So let's go ahead and configure the slicer for the normal settings. So Prusament PLA, 0.2 quality. It's got that set up. Infill, and that's going to be gyro at 15. The detect bridging perimeters is going to be needed when we do the actual supports of the other components. For solid layers, we have top and bottom at 5 and 5. That's really all we need to change. So let's go ahead and slice that. So yeah, 3 hours, 28 minutes. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good sized panel. Yeah, so let's go ahead and hop into the next one. So let's go with the left 3U panel. Okay, these are a little more complicated because they do require some supports, just like the 2U panels, of course. Let's go ahead and paint those on. So that there. A bit more here. And of course, with painting on supports like this is going to be on the bottom, so it really doesn't need to be super precise. Alright, cool. And then of course we need to support these hinge pins as well. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and lay that on its back, and then we'll center it. So now that that's laying like that, go ahead and slice it. Alright, 6 hours, 46 minutes. This is why we've got to turn on support enforcers. So now that we've got that on, now we have what we're looking for. So supports there, and then under each of those holes. 6 hours, 51 minutes. So still not too bad. But yeah, that looks good. Let's go ahead and do the right side. Alright, right panel. So same thing with this. We want to go ahead and make sure we paint our supports on. I'm still getting used to this mouse and everything, so it's a little less precise than I'm used to. I'll definitely get the DPI set in pretty soon, though. Okay, so go ahead and throw it on its back like that. Look good. Slice. Yeah, 6 hours, 51 minutes. So, yeah, left and right panels are exactly the same time. I'm assuming probably because of that, and then it's got to, do all those little holes and stuff, so that's probably why this one takes a little bit longer than you would expect, even though it doesn't have hinge pins. But yeah, so that looks pretty good. Anyway, so as for the next portion of this video, I have some, pre-created content that I'm going to throw up. I apologize in advance for the audio quality on that. I didn't really have a nice mic on the last machine that I was using, so I'll try to bump up the sound of that, but I don't think it's really going to do a whole lot, so it is what it is. The next couple of videos that come out, they'll be fine because I don't have any pre-made content for them, so again, apologies in advance for that, but this is all good stuff, so going forward, I think we're going to have some really good content and a really good build. So I'm looking forward to releasing the rest of this. I think it's coming along really nicely. So, and then at the end of that, I'm going to throw on another section that is the completed component for the first 2 sections. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, have a good weekend. So I'm playing around with the new assembly today. I thought I'd give you a little bit of insight into how I work. So as you can see, I've got the base, the 2 side panels, and the back on here. Let's go ahead and throw another tier, maybe 2. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. So let's just throw some stuff on here. So we already have a mid rack, so we can go ahead and throw a 3U panel on there because the way it's going to be set up, I'll have a 2, a 3, and 2 5s. So let's go ahead and set up a 3U. So we'll insert a 3U panel. And we're going to go up on this, and we're going to go back. And that should get us where we need to be for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set for this, we're going to go ahead and set a static joint. So that's going to be that, and it's going to go to that. Well, sorry. Undo that. It went to the wrong thing. So let's go ahead and take that one out for a sec. Alright. So we're going to take this, and we're going to put it right here on that one. Okay. Now, this needs to be adjusted out for some tolerance. So take it back, and it's going to be 0.1. That should be perfect. So as you can see now, that's exactly what we were looking for. Now, you can see I'm not putting bolts in yet. I'll do that once I've got the full assembly built. That's going to take a little while, and I'm going to have to create a whole bunch of copies of bolts, and so I'm not even sure if I'm going to do it. I probably will, but it's going to take a while. Alright, let's go ahead and add the left 3U panel real quick. Alright, now for this panel, take that up. We're actually going to rotate it 180. And then we're going to take it back that way, and we're going to take it out so I can work with it. Alright, let's go ahead and turn off the left 2U panel so I can make this joint work. So we're going to take that joint right there. That's going to go right there. And then from this, adjust that out, minus 0.1. Alright, now I can turn that one back on. And as you can see, we have a second tier. Let's go ahead and throw another mid rack on that. Alright, take that all the way up to the top. Okay, now what we're going to do is take this, we'll just set this joint here to go, well actually, we don't want to do that. What we want to do is we want to set the joint here to go right here. Cool. Now that we've got that, we do need to adjust this in. It's going to go minus 0.1. Okay, that should be lined up as you can see. Let's go ahead and add another back piece. First, let's pull it back here. lift it up. And we'll add a motion joint here and here. Now I already know what we need to do here, so this is going to be minus 0.2, and this is going to go minus 0.25. We're going to set that to a revolute joint, and now you can see that's perfectly lined up like it's supposed to be. So those numbers I've been putting in as offsets, those are just the tolerances that I built into the model so that things function as they're supposed to. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and take this and we're going to edit the joint limits. So we have a minimum there, and we're going to go ahead and change that to minus 135. So now if I work this joint, that should go back out to there. And so if you look, that's the farthest you'd want to take that thing before it, well, first of all, it impacts that, but also that's the angle that you'd take when you want to take that thing off. So that's what we're looking at. And while we're here, let's go ahead and add a couple more tiers. So we're not going to add a 4U, we're going to add 2 5Us for what I use. So I'm just doing a 4U because you guys might need it. Alright, get that in there. Oh, we don't want that, we want it to be rigid. And position, it's going to be 0.1. Add another left 5U. Wrong one. Cancel. It's not what I had in mind. Let's go ahead and add another joint to this. Alright, and negative 0.1. Okay, now we can turn that back on. As you can see, all that's lined up like it's supposed to be. Let's go ahead and add another mid-rack. All the way to the top. And this should be the last mid-rack that we need to do on my design. Now, you guys can do whatever you want to do, but this is going to be what I'm doing. So I have 2 tiers of 5, a 3, and a 2. That's going to go minus 0.1. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and add another back to this. Alright. Add another revolving joint. Alright, and we're going to set our joint limits. Okay, that looks good to me. we'll do the last tier. And then I don't have the top finished yet, so we won't be able to put a top on it yet, but this is going to be what it looks like. So let's go ahead and get another 5U panel generated. Add into the design. Okay, now we're going to turn off the, let's see, right 5U there. Okay, cool. So we need to do that in order to get this joint to work. And change that back to rigid. Okay, I think we can turn that one back on now. Let's go turn that one off, and I can add one more of those. All right, insert that. Up. Rotate 180. Back. And let's move it out so I can see. All right, now I've got that. We'll do another joint. That's going to go to right here. I'm going to move that back minus 0.1. And I can turn that one back on. All right, so now we're good on that. And then we'll add one more back panel. Let's take it up. All right, and one more revolving joint. Okay, now this is going to go back to minus 0.25. It's going to go to minus 2. And we should be set on that. All right, so that's the current assembly as it sits. I've got a couple more things I need to work on. Like I said, I need to get the top ready to go, and then I've got to print at least one of these sections in order to test the tray fitment. So I may need to adjust the size of the trays now that I've got kind of a different mechanism in there. It may change the tolerances of the trays. So we'll get that worked out, but for the time being, this is the current status of the build. So the next step is going to be building this top section. That probably won't take me too long to do, but I think it's going to turn out pretty cool. This has been a really good week for build progress. As you can see, we now have 2 tiers of the rack done. So this is a 3U section and a 2U section. All these pieces fit like they're supposed to. All the bolts tighten down like they're supposed to. All the magnets are in place. Everything fits like it's supposed to fit. Magnets are tight. Got all the magnets in the front. This thing's in business. And I now have a really nice fit for these trays. Look at that. It's like butter. We're in good shape now. So yeah, a couple more tiers and we'll be ready.